Welcome back to On the Foothills. So good to have you. We're your number one source for market updates and lifestyle and entertainment news in Southern California. We have a very special guest today. I can't wait to have Janelle introduce. Why don't you go ahead, Janelle?
So this is Daniel. He's from WeFundLA. Would you give everybody an introduction to who you are?
Sure. First off, thank you for having me here this morning. I'm super excited to do this.
All right.
I'm excited to be in a room with people again.
Yeah.
Super excited to be here with you this morning. My name is Daniel Arias, and I am the team leader for WeFundLA. We're a local mortgage bank here based in Pasadena. We also have an office in Highland Park as well. And we have an awesome team of some awesome originators that service this area and service the San Gabriel Valley and Northeast LA communities.
You guys have been absolutely slaying it.
Phenomenal, making our clients fall in love with you because you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
So we're super excited to have you on today because I know all of us here, including our clients, we all have burning questions. And I feel like you have some answers to these questions.
Hopefully, yeah. We'll bring some truth to all of the myths that are out there right now.
Yeah, let's solve all those unsolved mysteries.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Mythbusters. Mortgage edition.
Love it.
All right, so how about this? Any one of you guys have some clients lately that have been asking you about, hey, should I time the market? What does that look like? What's happening? I've been reading the news. Anything that's burning in the back of your minds right now that you want to start with?
Well, I guess I'll start with one thing because this is what I've kind of been telling my clients now, and I just kind of want you to let me know if that's okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But you can refinance later, right? So even if you go in and your interest rate is a little bit higher, you can still refinance.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's, I'll start off with kind of my global Econ 101 summary of what I think is going on in today's market. Mm-hmm. It's definitely an interesting market, but I think the thing to realize is that what we've seen in 2021 and in 2020 weren't necessarily a normal market, right? Those were unusual factors, right? The housing industry was fueled by record low interest rates. Yeah. And so what we're seeing is a transition into a more normalized, healthy, sustainable real estate market. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the first thing that we really need to point out is that, what we've been living in 2020 and 2021, not necessarily a normal real estate cycle, right? And so, you're hearing a lot of news about the Fed increasing interest rates. Mm-hmm. You're hearing a lot of people talk about this bubble that might be coming and real estate prices are gonna fall off a cliff. And so, I think it's important to really bring truth back to what we're hearing. And so here's my truth, right? I think that, our market is healthy. I think that it's still an excellent time to invest in real estate. And I'll tell you why. I think at the core of what we're seeing is that we really have an inventory crisis more than we have an affordability crisis, right? This is really an inventory crisis. So there's a lot of people thinking that, oh my God, these higher interest rates, they must bring home prices down, right? We're gonna see home prices drop 10, 20, 30%, right?
Oh, I get phone calls every day talking about, I'm waiting for the drop to happen.
Yeah, people they're trying to time it. They're saying like, I'm waiting to see when the prices drop down again.
Right, yeah, and so, well, obviously hindsight's 2020, so you really don't know what the past is going to look like or when the peak and the valleys are until you're looking back at it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to know that, right now the market's still very strong. We're not going to necessarily see home prices come down. Now, we may not see double-digit appreciation like we've been seeing year over year, the last 5 years, but maybe we see a more normalized 5 to 7% appreciation. And that's really because there's a supply and demand issue. Like, you don't have to have a PhD in finance or in business to understand the basic economic principle of supply and demand, right? There's too much demand for the inventory that's out there. And so that's going to continue putting upward pressure on home prices. So the message that we're giving to all of our clients, and to piggyback on what Agu was saying, is that you want to lock in today's lower home prices and not pay potentially 5 or 7% more on $1 million house or condo next year, and then take advantage of the very high likelihood that mortgage rates will actually come down.
When do you think that that's going to happen? Because I know if they're like, okay, great, we're going to get into a house now, how long are they going to be paying these monthly mortgages before they're the rates will come down? Like when you think
Yes, we need you to bring out your
Crystal
almanac.
ball.
Your almanac from
I have my crystal ball in my
2025.
backpack.
That's the
Yeah.
And the hoverboard. You brought the hoverboard too.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And here's what all the economists that follow this to very, very fine detail are predicting that we're probably going to see mortgage interest rates come back down Q4 or potentially Q1 of next year. So that's 6 to 8 months away, right? And so what the Fed is currently doing, right, by raising the federal funds rate, is they're trying to curb inflation, right? Inflation is the arch enemy of mortgage interest rates, right? Inflation is the arch enemy of mortgage interest rates. And so as inflation rises, mortgage interest will rise, right? And your cost of funds will rise, right? Now, what the Fed is doing by increasing the federal funds rate, that 0.75% rate hike you heard this week, is really being done to curb inflation. It's being done so they could slow the economy down a little bit and try to bring down the prices of all goods and services, right? Bring down the cost of gas, lumber, groceries, money,
I
right?
like $8 a gallon.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
Feels good.
It's been pretty bad, right? So what they're trying to do is get inflation in check. And once that actually happens, it's going to take some time, right? It's not going to happen overnight. But once the Fed finally gets inflation in check and it brings it back down, guess what comes back down with it? Mortgage interest rates, right? And so it's funny, we got a bunch of calls this week, right? Is my rate locked? Everybody who we have in escrow right now, Daniel, is my rate locked? I saw that rates are going up 0.75%. Is my rate locked? And so one other thing I want to point out is that a Fed rate hike actually doesn't have a dollar for dollar impact on mortgage interest rates, right? Everybody thought that if they were 5% on Monday with the 0.75% rate hike, that they were going to be 5.75 after the rate hike. And that's actually not necessarily true. To be honest, we actually saw a little bit of a reversal and mortgage rates came down a little bit. Why do you think that is? Let me ask you, what do you think that is? So, why do you think mortgage rates actually came down a little bit after the announcement of the federal funds rate hike of 0.75%?
Is it because they're predicting like human reflexes?
Or a lot of people coming in.
So why are they hiking the federal funds rate? Why are they hiking it? To do what?
To curb inflation.
To curb inflation, right? And so they were expecting maybe they were going to do 50 basis points. They ended up doing 75 because that's kind of what the market needed. So I think they started seeing that, oh wow, they're doing 75. They're starting to bake in that inflation hopefully will come down at a slightly more accelerated rate. And so we actually saw mortgage rates start ticking down slightly. Nothing crazy, but it wasn't a 0.75% hike.
So it's not that simple addition of people are saying like a 5 and then 3/4 on top of it. It's not like that.
Correct, yeah.
And if they are questioning, they should just reach out and find out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a lot of people call us and say, oh my God, is my rate locked? Am I good? I'm like, yes, your rate's locked. You're good. But the other thing I wanted to point out is that the federal funds rate controls interest rates on your home equity line of credit, student loans, credit cards, other type of debt, not necessarily mortgage interest rates. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's tough to get finance for a lot of things right now, just because of that. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Just trying to get some groceries the other day. Trying to get finance for that.
No, I
You need a sponsor now.
We're doing crowdfunding for groceries.
That's funny.
So I feel like in this day, especially this day and age today, you can't go on social media, you can't turn on the radio, you can't turn on the TV without this doom and gloom. You got these media headlines scaring the crap out of everyone.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what they're saying as far as the doom and gloom goes? Do you feel like it's as far-reaching? Do you feel like it's just over sensationalized, just media
like,
headlines?
are you yourself scared? Like,
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. And, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm continuing to invest in real estate. I'm an active investor and developer. I have multiple rental properties. And I'm still actively looking. I still think it's a great opportunity out there to pick up real estate. The one distinct factor we have to look at is that this is not 07, 08 all over again. This is not a repeat of 07,
Wait, can you repeat that louder and more slowly, because I don't know how
This
many
is
folks
not a repeat of 07,
We've
08.
heard so
And
many
what
calls,
can
right?
you let people know briefly why it's not
Yes,
like
thank you.
07 and 08?
Yeah.
Everyone, okay, Daniel's
Everyone listen up.
Ready? This is not a financial crisis. This was a health crisis, right? So, two very distinct factors, right? In 07, 08, the economy was ill. This was the catalyst for what we're going through today is a health crisis. Two very distinct factors, right? Our economy actually went into COVID at an all-time high. Strong GDP growth. We had a lot of great things going on in our economy going into COVID. And so what you saw was a financial crisis kind of disrupt our markets. And so, people's equity position is at the highest level it's ever been, right? No one's foreclosing. No one's going to stop making payments on. They're going to call Grant and Laura before they go into foreclosure, right? Because they have a ton of equity in their home, right? So
and no negams.
No negams. There's no there's no negative amortization loans out there. Everybody's capitally invested into their property. We have people that have been vetted, that have been tried, and FICO scores are checked, and income and assets are checked, and people are qualified really the way they should have been. And so we don't have this instability and this high default rate in mortgage loans that would contribute to a mass default, right? And see a lot of foreclosures. So that is everybody's waiting for this flood of inventory to hit the market and all of these distressed sales to hit the market, and we're not going to see that. I mean, you're not going to default on your mortgage and let it go into foreclosure when you've got $400,000 of equity in it. Right. You're calling one of you guys to get out of that problem, right? So I think it's important to note that was a financial crisis and this is a health crisis. And so it's being handled differently, right? And so the market's still very strong, it's healthy, and I actually like the cycle that we're going into. We're going into a more normal, sustainable, healthy real estate cycle.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. I think a lot of people need to hear that. Everyone needs to hear that. Because everyone is a headline reader, and they are kind of.
I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah, everyone is, but I mean, I think that they need more education. They need a little bit more guidance on just what's really happening, so that they don't just make poor decisions or don't make any decisions.
Yeah. Well, it's because bad headlines sell much better than good headlines.
Of course.
So they're going to put out negative media out there and negative headlines to get the eyeballs on that article.
Oh yeah,
right?
just wait till I name this video. You'll see.
Yeah. So.
So where do you think interest rates are going to go?
Yeah.
Is it should we wait to buy? Is the question.
Yeah. No. Again, I think that because of the high likelihood of a refinance opportunity being present in the next 8 to 10 months. I don't think you have to be as worried and try to time it perfectly, right? Timing becomes less critical when there's a high likelihood of a refinance opportunity coming in the future. So I think my message would be don't be so focused on trying to time it perfectly. You'll drive yourself nuts. And be more focused on finding the right property and getting your iron in the fire and making sure that you are capital invested, right?
I love that.
Get your iron in the fire so you can start building equity, that you can start taking advantage of the tax advantages that come with owning versus renting. And then a refinance is likely going to solve any issues that you may have had going into this home where the payments maybe a little higher than it would have been 6 months ago because interest rates were lower. But if I'm thinking I'm going to have to pay an interest rate in the mid 6s today, but I know that maybe I can get something that's 1, 2, maybe 3% lower in a few months and save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on your mortgage. I think that's really the message or the focus that I would have. You asked about, where are rates today and where are they headed? I think, we're probably seeing a 30-year fixed rate starting to flirt with 6.5, maybe even 6.75. I guess that we're close to a plateau and we're close to the high water mark. And then we probably will start seeing rates hopefully come down towards the end of the year and going into 2023.
And the reality of it is 6% is not a terrible rate.
It is
I think people are so zoomed in on, oh my gosh, compared to below 3. But I mean, zoom out, like
Exactly.
20, 30 years ago, where were they before?
We have the memories of gerbils in Goldfish.
Nance.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah. No, I mean, I bought my first little condo right here on Green, just a couple blocks from here, in 2004. And I remember I got a 6.5% interest rate, and that was with an employee discount because I worked at the bank at the time. And I was bragging to all my friends, I got a 6.5. They were all paying 7, 7.25. And you fast forward
Yeah.
a few years, and everybody forgot that 6.5 was a good rate. you
Yeah,
know?
A paper was
Yeah.
out of range, right?
And
Exactly.
I think people just need some time to get settled. I mean, maybe they're a little bit more used to getting settled to a lower interest rate. It took 2 years for everyone to just kind of
Adjust.
yeah, and then now everyone's like, it's so sky high.
Yeah.
Like this is outrageous. But I think people just need some time to get used to it.
And it's their first time buying a house, and it's like,
Exactly. I guess overall, if you just zoom out and like really look back and compare, like you really start to notice patterns and realize, like, I think my mom said like at one point it was like 10%.
Oh, it was in the
No,
teens.
it was
Yeah,
teens,
you know,
teens.
It was
like,
like
and this
closer
is-
to
and
20 in the
It
80s.
was in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, at least my mom remembered, like, when we bought our property recently, she's like, wow, this is low. Like, I remember when we got, the first house, like, it was 10, and I was like, oh, wow. But, like, I'm young, so I'm not. Now that I'm in the industry, I'm, like, zooming out.
Mhm.
It's not until you decide to do so that you really, really realize it's normalizing. And like you said, like, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and our team does a really good job of trying to stay ahead of this for our clients. We have a rate watch program where we get triggered every time someone
Oh, I
becomes
get
eligible.
triggered
What's your trigger, Brad?
That's another video.
That's the next podcast. Yeah. But we have triggers that every time a borrower or a client comes within range of a refinance, we're going to be proactive in reaching out to those clients and making sure that they're in the best mortgage available.
So you're
to
kind
them.
of like on the ball before it even hits them. Like you're watching it.
Absolutely, yeah. We're very proactive in making sure. We don't want to just be that loan officer that quotes a rate, does a loan, and then sends the client off. I mean, we really want to be their mortgage advisor for life, and part of that is making sure we put them into an incubation system that allows us to stay in contact with them during meaningful touch points, during anniversaries, during birthdays, but also during times of opportunity, and making sure that if a refinance comes available, that we're reaching out and making sure that, hey, we can save you a few $100 and let's do this. And as returning clients, they would also get some discounts as well. So I think our team does a really good job of that.
WeFundLA.
They'll take care of you.
And don't worry, if you're in San Diego, they'll fund San Diego.
That's true, yeah.
They fund OC, San Diego, everything.
Yeah, we are actually licensed in all 50 states. The thought behind WeFundLA was
Louisiana.
yeah, yeah, exactly. We fund Louisiana. So the thought process behind WeFundLA, our parent company is a large mortgage company called Refinance America, and we created WeFundLA because we thought it was a little bit more representative of us as mortgage advisors and really the community that we serve, right? I think LA is such a unique market. We have tons of people that work in the entertainment industry here, and we wanted to kind of get a little less from the big corporate bank name and do something that was more representative of us as a community. But we definitely are backed by one of the biggest mortgage banks out there, and we do service clients across all 50 states.